Chapter 3 of the book Path to Enlightenment. Technique for the abandoning of rebecoming. Kamma or action. The Pali word kamma literally means actions. Any international action, whatever mental, verbal or physical, is regarded as kamma. It includes all that it converted under the base thought, word and deed. When you die, the effect of the skillful or unskillful actions, that is known as kusala or akusala actions you have done in this life, carry over, transfer to another body because of the intention to do so. The Buddha referred to these as actions, intentions, fabrications, habits, result in rebecoming. There are three ways of performing actions. The three ways of performing actions are thinking, that is known as manokamma or chitta sankara. Then the second one, verbalizing, that is known as vaci kamma or vaci sankara. Then the third one, doing, that is known as kaya kamma or kaya sankara. Then we should know about the actions or habits. Many are aware that the effects of intentional, skillful and unskillful actions by thoughts, word and deed may influence and carry over to one's next birth. Few realizes that habits too many may carry over to one's next birth. Karma or actions that has passed over from one birth to another can also be a result of the past mental, verbal or physical habits of the living being. The following example will illustrate this important occurrence. Once, when the Lord Buddha was teaching the Dhamma at the monastery, Venerable Anandathera noticed that 4 persons attending were not listening to the Dhamma. One of the devotees was sleeping. One was shaking a branch of a nearby tree. One was looking at the sky, and one was scratching the ground. Perplexed by their conduct, Venerable Anandathera asked the Buddha as to by their conduct to read the reason for their strange behavior. The Blessed One informed Anandathera that they were acting like this because their previous life's habits carried into this present life. As per the Buddha's clarification, the one who was sleeping was a reptile in the past life. The one who was shaking the branches was a monkey in the past life. The one who was looking at the sky was an astrologist in the past life, and the one who was scratching the ground was a worm in the soil in the past life. If someone has built a strong habit in this life, they may carry into next life. The habits need not necessarily be skillful or unskillful actions. The Buddha said that habits were karma because they may pass over from one birth to another. Young children with exceptional abilities, such as Mozart, who composed his first sonata at the age of 4 and his first opera at the age of 7, may have been carried over past habits. Similarly, political philosopher Jeremy Bentham, who could read and write Latin and Greek at the age of 4, may have carried over his past habits and abilities. Similarly, persons who have strong habits resulting from defilements such as desire, greed, lust, anger, and hatred may carry over these tendencies as effects of karma if they do not restrain their sense organ. Any one of these three actions, that is, mental actions, verbal actions, or body actions, can arise only when one of the 6 sense organs is in operation. Although life we generate these 3 actions that result in rebecoming. If anyone has the ability to stop the arising of these 3 actions when the sensing is in effect, then he may have the ability to do so at the moment of death. If so, he or she will not be generating any action or karma for rebecoming to take place. Such a person is known as awakened or fully enlightened being, known as Arahant. This is the technique required to abandon rebecoming. This profound teaching is included in the Buddha's first word after enlightenment, that is, Aneka Jati Sansaram Sanda Visam Anibisam Gahakarakam Gave Santo Dukkha Jati Punappunam Gahakaraka Dittosi Punageham Nekahasi Sabba Te Paska Bhagga Gahakutam Visankitam Visankara Gatam Chittam Tanhanam Kayamajjaga. That means there are many a birth in existence, wondered, I seeking but not finding, the builder of this house. Sorrowful is repeated birth, O house builder. Thou art seen, thou shall build no house again. All the rafters are broken. The ridgepole is shattered. Mind attained the unconditioned. Achieved is the end of craving. That is the Buddha's first word after enlightenment. In that way, he is clearly mentioning that the mind attains the unconditioned state. That is what is meant by not generating any action in the mind. This paean of joy, the Lord Buddha's first words after enlightenment, summarizes what we have to do, why we have to do it, and how we have to do it. The Buddhas begin with what we have to do by starting his principal mission. He begins by acknowledging that he was wandered through many births seeking the builder of this house, that is body and mind, because birth is suffering. He then informed the world that he has seen the builder of this house, that is desire and craving, and accomplished his mission, the ending of Rebecoming. He then goes on to explain how he achieved the unconditioned. He has eliminated all the defilements, broken the rafters, shattered ignorance, the ridgepole that bears the weight of the house, and released the unconditioned state of Nibbana, final enlightenment. No more chitta sankara, that is mind generations, and vaci sankara, verbal actions, and kaya sankara, that is body actions, by achieving the end of desire and craving. So we should know clearly in Buddhism only the karma or the actions are not only the thing that any being can take place as a birth. There are 5 natural laws or orders that we should know. Most of you are aware that karma or the action done by a being can take effect in the present birth. You are also aware that the effects of actions results in rebecoming, and that is can carry through to one's future births. However, everything that happens to a living being is not due to karma or the past actions. According to the Buddha, there are 5 orders, or we call them as a niyama, which operate in the physical and mental sphere. They are utu niyama, that is physical inorganic order, seasonal characteristics of the atmosphere and weather, such as rain, wind, temperature, humidity. Also includes their effects: drought, flood, typhoon, tsunami, etc. Then the second one, Bija Niyama, that is physical organic order, biological characteristics of the living beings and plants, such as the taste of sweetness from sugar cane, rice produced from rice seed, hereditary disease and characteristics inherited from parents, etc. Then the third, Dhamma Niyama, that is order of the norm, the absolute truth about the make-up of the entire world, including the particles such as electrons and the law of gravity, like that. Then the number 4, Chitta Niyama, order of mind, the absolute truth of working of the mind and how it powers, how it generates, how it creates all the actions. That is the Chitta Niyama. Then the final one, Kamma Niyama, order of action and result. This is the karma or action that we refer to as the three main actions of thinking, verbalizing and doing, performed by living beings. So it is better to understand about these orders. Then we should move on how we do the karma. Karma based on skill. From these 5 natural laws only, Kamma Niyama or order of action can be changed. Karma can only be changed by you, the one who performed this action. The other 4 orders cannot be changed as they are absolute. These 5 laws or truths have been identified by the Lord Buddha with his spiritually developed mind. Now we need to understand what we refer to as karma and what need to be done to stop the karma. There are 3 types of karmas based on skill and the effect on rebecoming. There are unskillful actions, that is known as unwholesome actions or akusala karma. And the second one, skillful actions, that is clever actions or known as kusala karma. Then the third one, that is known as good actions or wholesome actions, known as punya karma. So we have to clearly understand what are these 3 types of actions. First, we consider about akusala or unwholesome act. If your action in this life are mostly unskillful, then after death you may be reborn in one of the 4 unhappy realms: the animal realm, ghost realm, demon realm or hell realm. Unskillful actions are those that generally result in suffering, pain and mental anguish to other and yourself. The root cause of unskillful actions is a mind with defilements known as desire, greed, lust, anger, hate, and delusion. That is known as the lobha, dosa, and moha in Pali. So you have to clearly understand these things. The desire, anger, and delusion. Those are the main defilements in the mind. Unskillful actions lead to rebecoming and tend to promote rebecoming and the cycle of samsara. Examples of akusala or unskillful, unwholesome acts that may result in unhappy rebirth and prolonged samsara are killing of living beings, harsh and divisible language, and sexual misconduct with minor those committed to others, celebrate monastics and rape of forced sexual activities. Those are unwholesome activities. This akusala karma can also include actions which are not unskillful. However, these actions are also result of desire, greed, anger, hate, and delusion, not knowing of the true nature of the world. These actions lead to rebecoming and tend to promote rebecoming and the cycle of samsara. They do not, however, result in rebirth in unhappy planes of existence. Examples of akusala karma that do not result in unhappy birth but prolong samsara are actions that promote desire, greed, lust, anger, and hate, even if they are not immoral and unskillful. Examples include reading books, watching TV programs, and playing video games that promote lust and anger. These should be restrained or avoided by those who towards the 4 stages of Nibbana. Then we have to consider about the kusala karma. If you are able to perform any skillful actions in this life, then you may not be reborn. You are an arahant or fully awakened being, or you may be reborn in a human or God or as a Brahmin realm. Skillful actions are actions that generally result in happiness, joy, and peace of mind to others and yourself. The root cause of skillful action is the absence of defilements known as lobha, dosa, and moha, that is desire, anger, and delusion. Such a mind is said to be with thoughts of renunciation, goodwill, harmlessness, and wisdom or knowledge, that is known as alobha, adosa, and amoha. These actions lead to the abandoning of rebecoming and promote the ending of rebecoming. Skillful deeds such as generosity for the purpose of letting go of greed and desire. Meditation such as breathing awareness. Meditation can be used to subdue the hindrance of desire, anger, etc. Then we have to consider about the punya karma, or that is we known as the skillful actions. If your actions in this life were mostly good but not skillful, then after death you may be reborn in good life as a human being, God, or Brahma, even you pass away. Good actions are actions that generally result in happy, joy and peace of mind to others and yourself. However, this punya karma, or we say it is as a wholesome act, leads to rebecoming and tends to promote rebecoming. Examples of punya karma are good deeds with self-interest such as generosity, with expectation of birth in the heavenly realm or fame and recognition. As such, they are not skillful actions. In summary, we should perform skillful actions, that is, we call clever actions, kusala karma, that lead to abandoning of rebecoming and promote the end of rebecoming. These are actions that have renunciation, goodwill, harmlessness and wisdom, knowledge as their root. We should eliminate all unskillful actions, that is akusala karma, and good actions, also that means wholesome actions that are accompanied by self-interest, desire and ignorance. These are all actions that have desire, greed, lust, anger, hate and delusion as their root. So we have to know this reproductive karma. The action that comes to mind at the moment of death is very important, because it is the one that fashions the rebirth consciousness. It is known as patisandhi vijnana. If a person has done one of the 5 grave actions, such as killing of the mother or father, killing of the fully awakened person, shedding a blood of a Buddha, or causing disharmony in the Sangha, then this action will come to mind at the moment of death and will take the place of the reproductive karma. The effect of this, hence, crime will be rebecoming in the hell realms. Similarly, those that have attained the mental absorptions, that means the high levels of mindfulness, jhana, and dwell in them for long periods of time, will result in this mental state or action coming into mind at the moment of death, resulting in birth in the Brahman realm. The next strongest action is known as death proximate or known as asanna kamma. These are resilient, skillful and unskillful actions that one has done close to the time of death. They overpower the habitual actions and take the place of the reproductive action. Usually, it is the habitual actions that comes into mind at death. This is an action that one performs habitually with great desire. Chunda, the butcher, who was living close to the Lord Buddha's monastery, earned his living slashing pigs. He died squealing like a pig in the throes of death and took rebecoming in the unhappy realm. Therefore, you should not assume that when you have done bad actions in your life that you are definitely destined to be born in unhappy or bad state of existence. Similarly, you should not assume that when you have done good acts throughout your life that you are definitely destined to be born in heaven or as a human being in the good station in life. This is generally true, but there are some exceptions. The place and condition of rebecoming depends on the action that comes to mind at the moment of death. A strong death proximate action can override one's habitual actions. Reserve actions are known as kadatta kamma, are fallback actions, not having any grave, death proximate or habitual actions. Any of these intentional, skillful or unskillful actions that one has done will come to mind at the death and take the place of the reproductive karma. Now we should know clearly how we going to stop this happening at the death. How we going to control our mind when death occurs. Who can control it? The noble ones, or we call them as Arya Pugal. Generally, the arising of this reproductive karma is not controllable. The gravity, proximity to death and habitual nature or actions of the living being determines the selections of the reproductive karma. According to the Buddha's teaching, only 4 kinds of persons are able to control the reproductive actions or thought moment at the death. They are persons who have realized, attained stream enter, known as Sotapanna. Then the second person who have realized or attained once returner, known as Sakadagami. Then the third person who have realized or attained non-returner, known as Anagami. Then the fourth and last person who have realized or attained awakened or fully enlightenment, known as Arahant. Those are the four stages of enlightenment or spiritual awakening. An Arahant is a person who has achieved the final stage and he or she has completely eliminated rebirth or rebecoming. The other three persons will be reborn, but they will never be reborn in unhappy realms or planes as animals, ghosts, demons, or beings in hell. One who has realized the Sotapanna, that is, the person who has realized the stream entry stage in this life, will be reborn 7 times at the most or less in the future, and he or she will attain enlightenment during this period of time. If one has realized the Sakadagami, that is, attainment of one's return stage, they will only be reborn once in this world and will attain enlightenment during this period of time. Those who have realized the Anagami, that is, attainment of non-returner stage, will not be returned to this world. They will reborn in a Brahmin realm where they will attain enlightenment. So we should know the methodology for abandoning rebecoming. To be a noble one, we need to eliminate actions that lead to rebecoming. We now know what we have to do to achieve this. We have to eliminate Chitta Sankara, that is, mental actions or thinking. Vachi Sankara, that is, verbal actions. And Kaya Sankara, that is, body actions. We also know how we do this. As per the Buddha's teaching, first we need to completely eliminate unskillful actions, referred to as akusala karma or unwholesome acts. Most persons practicing the Buddha Dhamma are aware of this and take great effort to refrain from unskillful actions. We also need to eliminate the good actions, referred to as punya karma or wholesome actions. Like the unskillful actions have desire, greed, lust, delusion as their root cause. This is because these two types of actions support or promote rebecoming. Instead, we need to have the knowledge to eliminate desire, greed, lust, so that our good actions, punyakam, will change to skillful actions. Then with appropriate knowledge, we need to perform skillful actions that lead to the abandoning of rebecoming. These actions have renunciation, goodwill, harmlessness, and knowledge, wisdom as their root cause. In the Samadhi Sutta, that is a certain disclosed of Dhamma, the Venerable Sariputta Thero stressed the importance of right knowledge or right view of the skillful good and unskillful actions. You now know the difference. It is the absence of desire and delusion that makes a good action into skillful action. It is the absence of defilement which will result in pure thoughts of renunciation, goodwill, harmlessness, and wisdom that makes the difference between punya kamma and the kusala kamma. Most of us are unable to do skillful actions due to ignorance or lack of knowledge of the Dhamma. Therefore, with great effort, we try to refrain from unskillful action and perform good actions as opposed to skillful actions. Most of us do not know the difference between punya kamma and kusala kamma. Despite our effort, we also have difficulty refraining from unskillful actions, even though we know that they lead to suffering for others and ourselves. So long as the defilements of desire, greed, lust, anger, hate, and delusion, that is known as lobha, dosa, and moha, are in our mind, we will not succeed. This is because we are not knowledgeable or wise enough to understand the Buddha Dhamma, including the absolute truth about the world. This is a dangerous situation which needs to be addressed without delay. One day, a Brahmin who had been lived in seclusion in the forest visited the Buddha and claimed that he was a noble one as he had kept the precepts as given in the introduction without breaking any for a very long period. The Buddha informed the Brahmin that if keeping the precepts without breaking any in itself lead to enlightenment or spiritual awakening, then surely a newborn baby would be a noble one. The Buddha then informed the Brahmin that he had kept the precepts successfully for a very long time because he had lived in seclusion in the forest without no contact with any outside persons. The Buddha then taught him of defilements of desire, anger, and delusion, that is lobha, dosa, and moha, that were laying dormant in his mind due to the absence of any interaction with any desirable objects and people. One needs to purify the mind by eliminating all defilements and have a mind of renunciation, or we say non-greed, that is goodwill, or non-hatred, harmlessness, and wisdom, known as alobha, adosa, and amoha, to be a noble one. This requires knowledge of the true state of the world so that delusion, desire, and ill will in the mind would be completely eliminated. then you will be able to keep the precepts to perfection even in the midst of society and desirable objects and people without binding